what actually is a showrunner? And do you want to share the best answer you got from a family member? Because I thought that was a great...
I have an 18-year-old daughter, and about 5 or 6 years ago, or 6 or 7 years ago, somebody asked, this is an odd-shaped room, I want to reach everybody here. Somebody asked my daughter, what does your dad do for a living? And she said, he's the president of Dexter. And basically, that's what you do. I mean, we've all done it. You sit and you listen to everybody else, and then you make a decision. And then, right or wrong, I mean, the showrunner is making decisions all day long. And you know, we'll come out of a meeting, a writing meeting, whatever it is, or a phone call with the network, and there'll be 8 people outside the door. And there's your transportation guy saying, do you want the blue Volvo or the gray Volvo? And then there's the wardrobe person holding 6 dresses, and you choose one. And whether you're right or wrong, you've got to make these decisions because the shows are like a wood chipper. You know, you shoot it, and then you're right on to the next one. So to bring it full circle, it's being a showrunner is doing absolutely everything. I don't want to take other people's time. So.
Feel free to jump in.
That's the best definition. I mean, it's who is responsible. When the studio network call, who can they blame or credit? And that's kind of it. Because it's in nobody's contracts. There's a lot of executive producers who are not, in theory, considered the showrunner. It is when they call and they want to complain about something, they don't call the other 4 executive producers. They call the executive producer that, in theory, is the showrunner.
And is this something that is official? Is it somewhere written down somewhere? Who deems you the showrunner?
No, I mean, I'm sorry. Michelle?
Well, it depends on show to show. I mean, sometimes it's the person that created it. Sometimes the creator will be matched with another senior writer, and then it's a cage match. And somebody walks out alive and the showrunner.
I think it's pretty acknowledged. If it's not, I think it's a problem. You know, I've never been on a show where it isn't sort of defined like someone's the showrunner.
But it's not codified. It's never on a piece of paper.
They don't say showrunner. No, I'd actually, like, it wasn't, when I started the business, it wasn't called showrunner. I don't know why. It seems
It's
like
just executive producer.
Seems like it's caught on, in the past number of years.
You're right.
But I actually think it's, to me, the most important part of the job is guaranteeing the scripts and keeping the vision consistent. I just feel like, and I'm sure you guys feel this way, it's like the scripts, getting those scripts out is the hardest part. And you can make some, you know, like kind of miss the boat on some smaller details, but it's like I feel like the showrunner is ultimately responsible for the scripts and getting the scripts out and what the stories are and ultimately what that script's going to look like, and then creating that final vision in the editing room, which after it's all shot can sometimes disappointingly not look like the script that was so wonderful, and then suddenly you have to rewrite it again in the editing room. So I kind of feel like showrunners spend a lot of time in the editing room, and I don't think people talk about that very much, the amount of time that we all sort of like sit in editing.
I think that's a really interesting, I'm going to give someone else a chance if they want to answer the showrunner question as well, but how do you balance the room, the writer's room, the set, and editorial? Because it seems like you're in charge of all of those areas.
Well, I was going to say, in a way, it's all these things. It's the writing, it's the editing, it's managing the budget, it's the million different things that you do when you produce. And it's impossible to do all those things. You can't. So it's about deciding what you're going to focus on and what you're going to delegate. And those decisions, in a way, are I think, the heart of showrunning. And I've never heard 2 showrunners say they're really doing it the same way or delegating it the same way. And probably being a little bit of a control freak is part of the job. Probably everybody wishes they could do all of those things and manage them all at once, but your head would explode.
Barbara?
Yeah, I was going to say, you're in charge of everything, and the way I put it is you have a finger in every pie, but you're not baking every pie from scratch. Because if you try to do that, you can't do it. Especially in network, we have 22 or 23 shows to do. You have to delegate. And but there isn't anything about the show you don't have, a say over or basic oversight. So it really is, everybody delegates in a different way. But I do find that if you can't delegate, it really is tough to do the job because it's all under your charge.
That said, I do find that I am in all places at all times.
How do you do that?
I have an assistant who is, well, I have two assistants, one of whom is just in charge of keeping me moving. And says, okay, yeah, after when you come out of that writing room, you got 10 minutes in editing to prove this little change, and you have to go over to music, and then you need to go watch the rehearsal of the master. And then you got to go back up to writing and then come back down. And so she keeps my schedule on an iPad. And all the other departments to whom we've delegated come to her to say, I need Clyde for 5 minutes. I need to show him the street we're going to shoot the exterior on, he needs to hear this piece of music. Can he do it in the elevator on the way down? I'll put it on his phone. So it's
Wow.
this extraordinary amount of responsibility and extraordinary amount of use of bandwidth, and it's the greatest job in the world. I can't believe I get to do this for a living.